Started with something so small. Saturday morning. I was in the kitchen, barefoot, frying eggs and humming along to some old John Mayer song playing on the Bluetooth speaker. The sunlight was pouring in through the windows, and it felt like any other weekend morning. Harmless. Ordinary. My phone was upstairs charging. His was right there on the counter, unlocked. He just stepped into the shower after finishing his morning run like he always did. 15 minutes to himself, a cold rinse, and then back to our so-called routine. I just wanted to check the weather. That was all. Just to see if we needed to bring jackets for the hike he promised we'd take. But when I tapped the screen, the weather app wasn't what caught my attention. It was the message banner that floated up. Just a tiny gray notification at the top. One line. From someone saved as Babe. And it read, "Last night was amazing. I still smell you on me." I swear I couldn't breathe for a second. Everything stopped. The sizzling pan, the song on the speaker, even my thoughts. I blinked at the screen like maybe I'd misread it. Maybe it was from me, sent ages ago and somehow resurfacing. But I don't call him Babe. And I definitely don't send him kiss emojis or talk like I'm 17 and heartstruck. My hand was shaking when I opened the messages. There she was. Woman. Younger. Her profile picture was of her in a sundress, posing with a cocktail in one hand and sunglasses pushed up on her head. She looked effortless. Sexy. Carefree. Their conversation thread was long, weeks and weeks of messages. Photos. Flirty remarks. Her sending selfies of her lying in bed. Him replying things like, "I miss your smile," or "I can't wait to see you again." One message from him read, "It's hard to sleep next to her after being inside you." I sat down. Right there on the kitchen floor, with the eggs burning in the pan, I just sat. My back against the cabinets, his phone in my lap, my whole body numb. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But I did neither. Instead, I did something that even now I'm not sure was bold or stupid. Maybe both. I stayed calm. Closed the app. I turned the eggs off. And when he stepped out of the shower, smiling, towel around his waist, hair damp, and kissed my cheek, I smiled back. I made him breakfast. I poured his coffee just like always. 2 sugars, a dash of cream, just how he liked it. I even asked how his run was, and when he said refreshing, I nodded, pretending I hadn't just read the dirtiest parts of his double life. I wasn't ready to confront him. Not yet. I needed more than just rage. I needed to understand. I needed control. So after he left to run errands, I went back to the phone. It was still unlocked. They'd been together for over a month. He told her things he hadn't said to me in years. Compliments, secrets, inside jokes. She thought she was the only one. She called him her man. And he didn't correct her. What hurt the most wasn't the sex. It was the affection, intimacy, the softness in his words. The man I'd loved for 7 years didn't talk to me that way anymore. And maybe that's why I did it. I opened their text thread. I stared at the blinking cursor. My fingers hovered for a long time. Then I typed, "Hey babe. We need to talk." I didn't know what my plan was. I just knew I wanted to shake her world like mine had just been shaken. She replied almost instantly. "What's wrong, love?" Worried face. I imagined her lying in her bed, phone in hand, worried that her married man was about to disappoint her. I wondered if she felt guilty. I wondered if she even knew I existed. I typed slowly, deliberately. "I've been thinking about us and what we're doing. I need to be honest." She replied, "You're scaring me, what's going on?" And then something inside me snapped into place. Like a lock turning. I knew what I had to do. I can't do this anymore. I'm married. Made vows. This is killing me inside. I'm ending it. She blew up. "So you're just gonna walk away? After everything you said? After what we shared? You don't even care?" I waited. Let her spiral. Then I wrote, "I lied to you. I lied to her. I regret everything. This was never real." And I blocked her. My hands were ice cold. My heart was pounding. I felt sick and powerful all at once. When he came home, I was sitting on the couch, pretending to scroll through my own phone. He brought in takeout and asked if I wanted to watch a movie. Said yes. We watched a rom-com. Something we'd seen before. He reached over and rubbed my foot absent-mindedly while laughing at the screen. I stared at him, wondering how many times he'd lied straight to my face. Wondering if he could feel my rage underneath my calm exterior. That night he kissed me goodnight. Let him. Then I waited until he fell asleep, snoring gently like always, and I stared at the ceiling for hours, my mind racing with what to do next. I couldn't unknow what I knew. I couldn't unsee those words, those photos, those lies. But I also wasn't going to confront him in a scream fest where he'd twist the narrative and make me feel crazy. Well, I was going to play this smart. I was going to make sure the woman who thought she had my husband understood exactly what kind of man she was sharing a bed with. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel evil. I felt justified. Because when someone burns down your home, you don't just watch the flames. You walk right into the ashes and rebuild on your own terms. And this was just the beginning. I thought that once I blocked her, it would be over. I thought I could just quietly hold the truth. Let it simmer behind my eyes like some secret fire I'd learned to live with. But that's not how betrayal works. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't stay silent. It demands attention like an open wound. The next morning I woke up early before him. I watched him sleep, peacefully unaware that I knew everything. The man who promised me forever had someone else's perfume still faint on his hoodie. And he still had no idea I was the one who'd texted her. What I didn't expect, though, was her. Because by 9:15 a.m. she was back. Not in text. Not through some sneaky burner account. She called my phone. I don't know how she found me. Maybe she Googled him. Maybe she saw a tagged photo of our anniversary. But when I picked up, I didn't even say hello. I didn't need to. All I heard was a girl's voice. Young, breathless, furious. Who the hell are you? I was silent. I know that wasn't him last night. I know it was you. You think you can just mess with my life like that? I laughed. Quietly. Not because it was funny, but because I finally had a voice to match the betrayal. You're sleeping with a married man, I said calmly. And you're upset that his wife texted you? There was a pause. Then she said, softer this time. He told me you were separated. Of course he did. I could have screamed at her. I could have torn her apart. But I didn't. She wasn't innocent, but she wasn't the one who broke vows. So instead I asked her a question. How long? She hesitated. Then said. Since February. February. That was 2 weeks before Valentine's Day. The same week he gave me that dumb little heart necklace and told me I was his only home. I nearly choked. She kept talking. Look, I didn't know at first. He never told me about you. Then I found a picture and asked. He said you were over. That you were just living in the same house for legal stuff. Legal stuff. My marriage was reduced to legal stuff. She added. He said he hadn't touched you in months. I almost laughed again. Because that part was true. He hadn't touched me like he used to in a long time. He kissed me out of habit. He touched me with muscle memory. But intimacy, connection, that had died slowly, like a candle suffocating under glass. Thanked her. Yes, I actually thanked her. For being honest. For confirming what I needed to hear from someone else's lips. Then I told her flat out. You can have him. She didn't respond. She hung up. That same afternoon, I did what no betrayed wife is ever advised to do. I played along. He came home with flowers. Cheap supermarket lilies. I pretended I was touched. Kissed him. I let him take me out to dinner. I let him hold my hand across the table like he wasn't full of lies. And when he went to the restroom, I took his phone again. She was texting him. Why'd you let your wife text me? You said you'd leave her. You told me I mattered. He replied just minutes before I'd gotten my hands on the phone. She's just jealous. I'll fix it. Give me time. Fix it. He was going to fix the fact that I found out about the woman he'd been screwing behind my back? I stared at the screen, then opened the camera. I took a picture of myself, crying. No makeup. Ugh. Then I sent it to her. No caption. Just the image. A second later, I sent another message. This is who you helped destroy. Hope it was worth it. And I blocked her again. The next day she showed up. My house. I heard the knock and opened the door to find her standing there. Barefaced, no makeup, no heels, just jeans and a hoodie. Her arms crossed like she didn't know how to hold herself anymore. She didn't say anything at first. Just looked at me like she was waiting for a slap or a scream. I said, "You're brave." She replied, "I'm stupid." We sat at my kitchen table. We didn't fight. Talk. And what I learned that afternoon made everything worse. She wasn't just a fling. She was a second life. He told her he loved her. He met her family. He even went on a weekend trip with her. Said it was a work retreat. That same weekend I was home sick with the flu. I'd been texting him for soup. He said he was too slammed with meetings. I'd been crying in bed while he was drinking wine by the lake with another woman. But what stunned me the most was when she pulled out her phone and said, "You need to see this." She had a video of them in our bed. I wanted to vomit. She looked at me, already ashamed, already broken, and I knew she didn't mean to hurt me. She just didn't realize the depth of his deceit until it was too late. I didn't even finish watching. I didn't need to. I knew then that he was gone. Not physically, he was still in our house, still pretending to be my husband, but emotionally, spiritually, morally, he was gone. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to cry anymore. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to make sure that every lie he told would cost him something. That night, I waited until he was asleep again. I went to the guest bedroom, opened my laptop, and began saving everything. Screenshots, messages, photos. Created a folder. Titled it Truth. I wasn't going to just leave him. I was going to expose him. But not in the way you think. Not in some messy social media post. Not in a dramatic public meltdown. Well, I had something better planned. And it started with one message. To his boss. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the living room couch, lit only by the glow of my laptop, the silence around me thick with betrayal and calculation. He was upstairs, sleeping like a man who thought he'd gotten away with it. I could almost hear his breath. Slow, steady, ignorant. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as I opened a new email. To his boss at star.com. Subject. Private. Concerning his name. And then I wrote, "Dear Mr. Landon, I hope this message finds you well. I'm writing to you not as a disgruntled wife, but as a woman who believes the people you employ should reflect the values your company claims to uphold. Attached, you will find screenshots, videos, and chat logs that clearly show your senior project manager engaging in unethical behavior, including using work trips for personal affairs and misappropriating company resources to fund secret rendezvous with a woman who believed he was single." Pause. And added, "You may want to reconsider who's leading your next multi-million-dollar client campaign." Blick. All the screenshots. The hotel receipts billed through his work card. Even a short clip from the video she'd shown me. Just enough to confirm the location, the face, the infidelity. Nothing too explicit. Just enough to pierce through the professional armor he wore every morning. I reread the email 3 times. Then I hit send. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. It was something else. Power maybe. Or the relief that comes from finally refusing to be silent. And then I waited. He woke up around 7 a.m., scratching his chest, yawning like nothing had happened. I was making coffee in the kitchen. "Morning, babe." He kissed my cheek. I didn't flinch. Not yet. I needed to see him unravel with my own eyes. "You sleep okay?" he asked. "Best sleep in a long time," I replied, stirring cream into my cup. He sat down at the table and scrolled through his phone like it was just another Tuesday. I wondered how many lies he was texting her. How many more mornings he thought he could pull this off. At 8:02 a.m. his phone rang. He looked at screen. His face changed. Slightly. a twitch in his jaw. "It's Landon," he muttered, clearing his throat. "Probably needs updates for today's call," he answered. And in the span of 30 seconds, I watched his entire posture collapse. "Wait, what? Sir, there must be some mistake." "No, I never." What did she send?" He stood up, pacing the kitchen. "I just sipped my coffee." He turned to me, pale now, eyes darting like a cornered animal. "Did you?" I raised an eyebrow. "Did I what?" He swallowed hard. "You sent him something. Something that's not true." I walked over slowly and looked him dead in the eyes. "No, honey. I sent him the truth." He didn't speak. Just stood there, blinking like he couldn't believe the mask had finally fallen off. Then came the second call. Then a third. Client. By 9:30 a.m. He was asked to leave the company, pending investigation. By noon he was suspended without pay. He sat on the couch, shell-shocked, phone in one hand, useless excuses in the other. He didn't even look at me when he muttered, "You ruined my life." I leaned down, voice steady. "No, you ruined mine first. I just made sure yours matched." The next day I went to a lawyer. I had already packed half the house by the time he tried to apologize. He brought flowers again. This time roses. Red. Expensive. I didn't even open the card. He begged. He cried. He said he was lost and confused, and that it didn't mean anything. I told him that everything means something when you choose it over and over again. He offered therapy. Second chance. Clean slate. I offered him the divorce papers. 3 months later, I moved into a small loft across town. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Quiet, peaceful, clean. I started dancing again. Something I gave up years ago when he told me I was too old for that kind of hobby. I started sleeping better. I started laughing again. And one morning, as I walked to the cafe downstairs, I ran into her. The girlfriend. She looked different. Older somehow. Not physically, emotionally. Like someone who'd finally seen the full consequences of her choices. She asked if we could sit. We did. And she told me he tried to get her back after I left. Said she was all he had. That I'd set him up. That none of it was his fault. She didn't fall for it this time. She said, "I think you saved me." He nodded. "You saved me too. We weren't friends. But in a strange way we were sisters now. Two women who survived the same fire. Burned differently but burned all the same." She left me with a hug and a soft smile. "Last week I got an email. From Landon. Yes, his boss. He thanked me. Apparently, I wasn't the first wife to come forward. Just the first with evidence. They'd received 2 anonymous tips before but brushed them off. My folder, the truth folder, was undeniable. He said, "You reminded us that integrity doesn't end at the office door." He offered me a freelance PR consulting role. Funny how life works. The man who tried to silence me gave me a reason to speak louder. Some nights I still feel the ache. The one that creeps in when you realize your whole world was a lie for longer than you knew. But then I breathe. And I remind myself, I lost a liar. But I found the truth. And it was the most beautiful, brutal, necessary thing I've ever done. So if you're ever wondering whether you should hit send, do it. Expose him. Tell the truth. Even if your voice shakes. Because the moment I did, I stopped being the wife he betrayed. And became the woman he'll never be able to forget.